It is truly an honor to be hosting Orit Esther Riter today. After being diagnosed with multiple sclerosis 17 years ago, Emuna was the answer to Orit Esther's healing, growth, and building of a solid foundation with Hashem. In her quest to help as many people as possible, Orit Esther lectures worldwide, publishes numerous self-help books, has a popular podcast, established an online academy of Torah classes, and facilitates women-only retreats. Her passionate speaking style and warm disposition has made Orit Esther a sought-after workshop facilitator and a speaker around the globe. So without any further ado, I pass the microphone over to you, Orit. We look forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Hannah. Thank you to Jewish Workshops. Thank you for this beautiful, beautiful Yom Iyun, the day of learning. For us ladies, we need it, and it comes at perfect timing just before we're about to engage and get our hands, most of us, in the work of the kitchen and preparing our families for this very auspicious, important holiday of the year, the Yamim HaNoraim, the awesome filled days where we come together as a nation, we do inner contemplation within ourselves, and we take the time to take stock of where we've been holding, what we've been doing, what we still need to do, and what we would desire and yearn to invite into our lives for the coming year. So today's workshop is the topic is to meditate to date your way into the new year. So I would like to be able to just give us some points of reference, points of thoughts, and then kind of go from there and integrate it through just breaking out at various different points in the class and work towards silencing the inner self and really contemplating, silencing, centering the limud and the information that we're going to be receiving in today's class. And that is the means by which we enable ourselves to not just be textbook teachers and students, but to really live that which we learn. And we know that Chazal, our holy sages, teach us how important it is to get up from the book, to learn what it is that we need to learn, and to apply it into our everyday life. So it's not enough for us to just learn, but we want to be able to take the information and we want to feel it literally streaming in our body and really pulsating in the vibrancy of our being, how important that is. And that is part of what meditation enables us to do. It takes the intellectual parts of that which we're learning and it infuses and causes a change within our actual biochemistry of our body so that we function differently, we respond differently, we react. Our knee-jerk reaction is different. It's not just your typical habitual way of interacting with your life, but suddenly you find yourself responding from a place of control, of recognizing what's nagging at you, what's pulling at you, and God willing, that really is the essence of meditation in a nutshell. What I'd like to focus on in today's class is discussing what are those places within self that really tag at us? Like what gets us to jolt into action and reaction? They are essentially our emotions, our energy in motion. Our emotions are, what is the difference between emotions and feelings? So feelings are thoughts that I feel in my body. Emotions is the movement of these feelings, the motion, the energy of the feelings mobilizing, being mobilized in my body. So when I could feel my thoughts and these thoughts move, they're called emotions. And that is, those emotions are divinely inspired. So everybody has emotions. Everybody has feelings. Everybody feels their thoughts. And everybody has a program of the way that they naturally function. So in other words, we all are jumping into action, and we're all inspired to act, knee-jerk reactions, and through our nature from the get-go, without even realizing that we're functioning from a place of automat. And so in this class today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to try to pull apart a little bit of that program and get us to recognize the importance of coming into the truthful place, recognizing a little bit more the roots, or at least attempting to delve into those places within self that are rooted in habit, that are rooted in programs and limiting beliefs that are not helping us function. And this is the time to do it. This is the last week of the year. This job can be ushered in at any time of the year, but when we have the energy of the entire universe tonight, particularly Kaf He Elul, which is the date of the creation, that the creation began, the 25th Kaf He of Elul, we want to be able to really tap into that energy because it's going for us. It's embracing us, and we can work with the energy of the world to usher in a mindfulness, an awareness of what are these programs, what are these habitual places that I find myself meeting constantly again and again and again, and the things that I would love to be able to change. So let's just try to tap into it for this, next hour, God willing, Be'ezrat Hashem, and see how important is it for me to get to know that part of me called the emotional plane that I reside in. So Rabbi Nachman teaches us in his famous Sefer, Likutei Moran, Torah 34. He says like this, he says, man must use his center of emotion, his heart, in order to bond with his Creator, with others, and with every action that he takes in his life. In other words, Rabbi Nachman says you can't just function from a place of robotic movement. It's not healthy for anybody to just do because I was told I need to do, to act because that's the way I was taught to act. All of my my get-goes and my interactions in life, we need to function from a place of what's called muda'ut atzmit, right? Self-awareness. And therefore, when you look out in the science world, the new craze is mindfulness, because we are in what's called galut hadat, the exile of knowledge. Dat is tightly connected to the idea of muda'ut, which is what I said before, the mindfulness. And so when I could be more mindful of the knowledge, of the thoughts that are flowing inside of me, my emotions, if I could become more mindful of the flow of feelings that are sweeping me over and getting me to respond, that are tagging at me and getting me to respond to certain ideas and certain people and certain places in my life, when I could become more mindful of it, then I'm opening up my heart, which in a moment we'll see why that's important, and become attuned to taking myself out of exile. That's a very, very key point in Rabbi Nachman and his great-grandfather, the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh's Torah, is to release ourselves out of this mode of automatic and just functioning from a place of, well, I have no choice. This is the way I was conditioned. I have no choice because this is the way my mother, father, sister, brother, and uncle acted. But that's not what is expected of us. That's not what we want on a soul level. We want to change. We want to feel that we are able to achieve something new. We want to tap into the power of renewal. Now, one of the things that we're also taught, Rabbi Nachman teaches, is that we need to touch that center, that energy center, if we want to call it, called the heart. And why? Because we're all comprised of 4 basic elements of fire, air, water, and earth. the heart's element, the main heart element, everything is comprised of all these four elements, but the main element that resides in the heart is the fire. The fire, that's why we talk about the heart as being passionate and emotional and stirring with emotion, and I'm stormy, right? We use all of these adjectives to describe this fire element that's in our heart. And so the heart needs to be attached. It needs to be awakened. It needs to be in its element, in its fire element. And Rabbi Nachman teaches us that if we don't awaken the heart, in other words, if we're not in touch with our emotions, if for whatever reason we become numb, we suppress, we repress, suppress, we forget, we numb those emotions, Rabbi Nachman says we are actually putting our whole entire existence in danger. Yes, danger. It's dangerous to remain numb and unexpressive and to quiet down the emotional center, the heart center. And why? So first of all, we need to understand that, again, we are functionable human beings, and one of the ways that we function is that we need to feel our feelings. We need to feel our emotions. They need to be flowing. One of the things that I teach very regularly when I teach energy therapy, whether in programs or do energy work, is the importance of the flow, a healthy flow, adequate, balanced flow of energy. And energy is emotions, is those feelings flowing through your body. So it's very important that they don't get stuck. So that means is that I'm always supposed to be feeling my way through life. And if I don't feel the experiences of my life, if I don't have warmth, if I don't have affection, if I don't feel excitement, if I'm not pumped up with inspiration, those are just naming a few. And even if I'm not feeling the negative feelings, my jealousy, my hatred, my resentment, if I'm not feeling them, if I'm not giving them space, that what ends up happening, and this is something a little bit scary for some of us, if I don't give room for these feelings to be felt, for these emotions to run through, Rabbi Nachman writes that we run the risk, these are the exact words, of the heart searching for life, meaning, and excitement on foreign land. What does that mean? That means if I don't give room, if I don't honor my heart, if I don't honor my heart's desires, if I don't honor my heart's truthful place of what it's trying to communicate, and yes, my heart is trying to communicate something. We'll talk about in a moment what do you do with those not so nice emotions like the resentment, the jealousy, and so on and so forth. If I don't touch those emotions, if I refuse to confront them, if I deny my feelings, I'm killing my heart. Because I need to understand, as we know, the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, Leit atar panui minea. There is nothing devoid of godliness. That means that even the klipas, the husks, the outer shell of the emotion, which is the negative part of all that I'm feeling, there's the negative part, which is the shell, and then if I stick with it enough, and I pierce through it, and it's a limud, it's something that needs to be taught. It's not something that we easily know what to do with these feelings, and there are times where we are supposed to push them away. The Tanya teaches very clearly, you're not always, right? There is that mitzvah, lo tatu achrei einechem ve'achrei levavchem. Like, you're not supposed to, go after your heart and after your eyes and your heart. But we need to recognize that when it comes into our presence, we're being invited. There's a shidduch going on from Shemayim, from the heavens. We are being invited to see something about myself, about my experience. And I have to create an appropriate outlet. Again, otherwise, these emotions start taking hold of me. I become captive to them. I become kidnapped by them. And they start dictating the way, the automatic responses that I have with other people without even recognizing it. I become dictated to respond to my life circumstances through them. So I need to understand that if I don't respond to these emotions, they will find their way into my life. They will somehow figure out a way to get me to come into contact with them, because they are parts of me. There are parts of me that are unfinished. They are showing me a map of who I am. My emotions show me my weak points. My emotions show me my strong points. They want to be felt. They need to be attended to. And the revelation of these heart feelings are the basic need that is invited for me and you to interact with through the governing of. Yes, they are governed by Hashem. It's an actual invitation into my own life. In fact, as the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh teaches, that not only does the heart reveal to me part of what I need to be doing, part of my soul's mission, but he actually brings down and says that the emotions are a soul power. They are part of the power that I was gifted to. That's how I differ. You and I all differ from the animal kingdom, because we have a soul power called the emotional experience. And we can understand those emotions. We can address those emotions. We don't just act impulsively, right? That's animal. That's the animal side of me. But the controlling of my emotions is something that was given as a gift to mankind. And it's something that mankind is invited and ushered and called and summoned to be able to actually be in contact with. And if we don't, what happens is we understand that our emotions are the bedrock of our midot. And now we know that Torah tells us, talks a lot about the refining of our midot, of our character traits. And we're required this month, Elul, the Omer, right? Between Pesach and Shavuot, we are required many, many times throughout the year to take a good look and stock and inventory of what are my midot. How am I doing? What's weighing in on me? Again, how do I respond? Am I angry? Am I jealous? Do I love? Am I caring? Is it unconditional? Is it dependent on conditions? The midot are our pathway to correction, and my emotional experience and how I deal with my emotions are the bedrock and are aligned with my ability to actually refine my midot. And we know that there is great importance in coming to know my midot, coming to know my baseline nature. So if I tend to judge people not in favor all the time, right? God forbid, then that's a midah of mine. So just because I have it doesn't mean I'm supposed to live with it. The idea here is that we want to reaffirm to ourselves that even though I have these programs that are dictating my life, and yes, I saw them in my grandmother, my great-grandmother, blah, 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 I see them in my kids, I need to recognize that that's where free will lies. And that's Elul. Free will lies in my ability, your ability, our ability, individually and as a nation, to touch these energies, tap into our desires, go into our thoughts, go into our feelings, which all lead to our actions. We can't change our actions unless I address my desires, my yearnings, my ritzonot, my thoughts that are born from my desires, my speech that's born from my desires and my thoughts, and my actions that are born from my desires, my thoughts, my speech, my feelings, and my actions. We don't just act. We act because I first imagined it, then I desired it, then I thought about it, then I spoke about it, then I felt it, and then I acted upon it. So really, action is the lowest part of the expression, but I need to be able to tap into those places and really, as they say, go skin deep and say, what is this ammunition that the Yetzer Hara, that the evil inclination is taking me for a ride? I didn't just out of nowhere act the way that I just acted and screamed the way that I just screamed, or was so kind the way that I was so kind, right? I'm using positive and the negative. There must be, right, this flowing down of this emotion, right, of this energy started somewhere. And we want to be able to tap into that. We want to be able to tap into the heart center, which is where really all of it kind of gets brewed. It didn't start there, but it kind of brews up there, and it's on high flame because of the fire element there. So I want to take us into this shorter mode of meditation to just go into a place where, first of all, we need to be able to recognize that we have this free will, that Hashem gave us this free will. He gave us the ability to be able to recognize and come to the awareness of these emotions, and that He also gave us the free will to change and to trust that we have the power within us. So first I have to reaffirm, and that's what I would like to do next. So Hannah, if you can put on the background nigun of the Zlotcheva Rebbe, I would love to be able to just get everyone to just, it's a very short meditation. We'll go into a longer one later on at the end, more towards the end. But I want us to all come to a quiet place within ourselves and be able to just go into a place of quietness and recognize that, and I'm just going to invite everybody to close their eyes. And I'm just going to put you through this, these steps to integrate this idea that you and I have free will. We have free will. We can change things. It does not have to stay at the same level that it's always been. So I'm inviting you all to just close your eyes. Begin to breathe. Go into a place of willingness, of openness. Meditation is so important because the minute we close our eyes, we go into alpha phase, we slow down the brain waves. We get to look inside. We quiet the sounds on the outside. And we get to really see a truthful part that we may have not been aware of so long as our eyes were open. So the way that we go into meditation, and it's very natural, by the way, for anybody who are newcomers to meditation, it's a very natural to have your mind look to shift away. And it's okay. Meditation is about not just focus, it's about refocus. It's about getting us to re-engage this place of centeredness, of willingness to see something. So in this very small, mindful activity, meditation, I want to invite everyone to 3 basic steps to just integrate what we just learned up until now. The first step I want to invite everybody into is to acknowledge and surrender into your emotional space, emotional experience, whatever that is. Just acknowledge you are a being of emotions. You have emotions. Some of them you may not be proud of. Some of them you're really proud of. Just acknowledge and surrender into the fact that you have emotions. The second step, as you're continuing to breathe and keep your eyes closed, is I want you to acknowledge the idea and be willing, in today's class and in general, to open up yourself to feeling those emotions. Just be open, saying, by saying, I'm willing to see what these emotional spaces of mine look like, some of which I know about, but there are plenty of parts of me that I don't know about. And in this second stage, I want to invite us also to be able to be willing, a little daring, and I'm going to invite you to have a willingness to separate from even just a small layer of any negative limiting belief and program that you have been accustomed to functioning out of on automat that has not served you well. So just put out that energy and that mindfulness and that awareness of I'm open through this meditation. I'm open to, I'm going to pray, I'm going to yearn, and I'm going to be willing to at least feel what that feels like, to separate from parts of my emotional experience that have not been serving me well until now. And just keep breathing that in, that awareness, that desire, that willingness to part and separate. And the third stage, which is really the sweetening and the purpose of this whole process, is in this engagement, in this activity, in this introduction to these parts of myself, I want to be willing I'm asking you all, I'm inviting you all very gently to be willing to let go of those parts, of whatever parts that come up, of your experience, of your limiting beliefs, of your programs that you found in step number 2 that have not been serving you well. So just go into this mindfulness as I'm willing to let go of them, no matter how much I'm familiar with them and they've dictated my life till now. I'm willing to let go. And through that letting go, I will elevate. There will be an elevation of myself. There will be a growth. And I'm waiting to experience that. That's the purpose of this. And I'm just going to ask you to reaffirm the following. And you can either repeat after me, all of you are in silent anyway, or just allow the words to really penetrate your heart. I'm just going to reaffirm just a positive statement here. I can turn off the programs of my life that don't serve me well. I trust that I can heal. I trust that I can change. I trust that my life can change. And I trust that by default, when I change, others around me, including the circumstances, can change because of me. And we end off by saying, Hashem renews, and that's in present tense. Hashem renews every breathing moment. Therefore, I too am part of this magnificent, divine system of renewal. Even more so in the month of Elul. And just let that sit with you. That positive affirmation of change, of belief in change, of wanting to change. Just let that sit with you. And breathe that in. And when you're ready, you can gently open up your eyes and come back here. And it's beautiful that we could kind of like just go in and out of consciousness. We keep our eyes open, we close them. That too is the power of free will. I choose to go in, to go out, how to respond to the circumstances of my life. One of the most beautiful ways, I already just taught one beautiful tool to control my automatic animalistic response, is by just closing my eyes, turning away, and just integrating what just happened here. How can I respond differently? The closing of the eyes in and of itself is a stop, pause, so that I don't have to respond from that habitual space that I've been responding to up until now. Now, this 3-step process is very much parallel to the 3-step transformational spiritual growing process that the Baal Shem Tov HaKadosh has left for us in terms of Torah psychology and Torah of Chassidut, which, or Emuna, is founded on. All the programs are founded on the Torah of the Baal Shem Tov, and Chassidut at its beautiful, magnificent, healing teachings. Thank you, Hashem. So this process, what it enables us to do, it allows us to actually perform the most important part of living. And the most important part of living is to take all of our raw experiences, dissect them, pull out the good, and elevate them back up to source, to Hashem. That is the full emotional human experience and soul's mission in life, is that I'm supposed to take all of those raw experiences that have potential in them for holiness, and to delve into them. I'll give you an example. 1 second, I'll finish the sentence. To take them and recognize that they are in the wrong context in my experience. So my natural tendencies, my nature, is not who I choose to be defined as. Just because I have a tendency to think certain things, desire certain desires, feel certain feelings, and even do certain actions, that doesn't define me. I don't have to be dictated by that for the rest of my life. Even if I'm 90 years old, every moment that I'm breathing, I have free will to make that choice to depart from the programs and from the experience, my instinctual responses. I have a choice to depart from them and to choose to respond differently. And that's the beauty of the human experience. That's the beauty of wearing that title called co-creator. Hashem gave us the ability to co-create our existence, to co-create our ability to respond differently to the circumstances, the people, myself, to Hashem in my life. So I'll give you an example. As I said before, many of us, and this has become something that I've been, noticing through the mentorship that Hashem has gifted me to do over the past decade, to many women, sometimes men, but mostly to women, is that we have certain desires that at their core feel unholy, whatever they may be. So we have certain addictions, we have certain lusts, we have certain desires that don't fit well, they don't sit well, they're not garmented well in our essence, because we know that we're not supposed to have those particular, yearnings, cravings, desires, thoughts. Again, it could even be at a heat of a moment to feel like, I wish that person, chas v'shalom, wasn't alive, right? These are thoughts that we have. These are moments of interaction with that, the klipa of life, which is what I said before, the husk of life, the external aspects of life. But there's so much more that's inside of them, that inside of these thoughts that can actually be redeemed inside of me, and we can actually interact with it and find, wait a minute, the reason why I'm feeling this way, or I'm thinking this way, or I'm desiring this, is because I need to look more closely to it. And again, not everybody can do this. That's why there are programs that help us dive into it, as opposed to repressing and suppressing them. Hashem, again, is inviting us to interact with this because He wants us to really do something with it. So I'll just give you the teaching that sort of just hints to this. We read in Kohelet, right? Kohelet teaches us l'chol zman ve'et, l'chol chefetz tachat hashamayim. Everything has an appointed season, and there is a time for every matter under heaven. What does that mean? So the commentaries bring down and say, what does it mean? L'chol zman ve'et, l'chol chefetz. Chefetz is a thing, but chefetz also comes and is very closely related to the idea of lachpotz, tachpotz banu. That's one of the things, one of the 13 midas of rachamim, the 13 attributes of loving kindness of Hashem, is chafetz chesed. Who? Hashem is chafetz chesed. He desires to do chesed with us. So chefetz, used in this context, can also mean that it's not only just a thing for everything, but for every chefetz, for every desire. There's a time, Shlomo Melech is saying, there's a time and a place for every longing, for every desire, for everything that matters to us, for every experience, for every expression, for every thought. There is a time and a place for everything that I desire. And the key is to take that experience, take that something, that chefetz, that something that matters to me, and to use it as a means to metamorphosize, to elevate, to grow, to become, to change, to renew, to rejuvenate, to reintroduce, to re-inspire something that has been lost in my life. Now, from a physical standpoint, what does this do for me? Every time I re-engage with these experiences, I can actually now change physically the psychosomatic disorders, places of pain in my body, pain in my joints, pain in my muscles, pain, autoimmune diseases, all kinds of different, literally somatic, physical pains can be changed to improve and even disappear. I've seen it before. It's a common phenomenon. Because when I go to the holy content and the origin of the soul's desire for me to be triggered and to meet these places and remodel them back to its origin, what is called in Hasidut language to sweeten it at its core, to return it back and let it be sweetened at its heavenly source and core. When we do that, the energy, the healing energy that comes down into our life can actually heal us physically. Behaviorally, it also reduces anxiety, it reduces tension, it gets to demystify and debunk the limiting beliefs and the programs that you and I feel stuck in, that we feel like we can't get out of. Relationship perspective, I increase the capacity to contain and to hold my relationships from a renewed perspective. So coming into this release form, acknowledging that I have these experiences inside of me, changes the emotional vibration in my body. It actually enables me to let go of the things that are stuck. Because I'm now engaging, I'm not suppressing anymore. I'm actually engaging in these emotions. I'm recognizing, oh wow, I have these emotions. I can't run away from it because I'm ashamed of it. Hashem knows I have it. We're all going in front of a x-ray machine in less than a week from now. You think Hashem doesn't know what I have, what's going on inside of me? He knows. He knows of my desire to change, but I have to be honest with myself, and I have to recognize that if I don't deal with this, if I don't confront this, if I don't look to work with the raw material of my life, this raw energy called my emotional natural tendencies and emotions of my being, of my essence, I have to understand Hashem is very stubborn. He's going to keep inviting these emotional experiences into my life because he wants us to heal. Those triggers cause me they're not meant to stress me out. They're meant for me to experience them and for me to actually engage in them and to look for the source of good that Hashem wants to introduce into my life. Okay, so with that being said, now we're going to go into a more deeper place of meditation. What I'd like for us to do is to do a contemplative exercise and recognize that everything that you and I, and so I'm inviting us to already go into a quiet place. I'm not starting the meditation quite yet, but I want to sort of slow down the pace and get us to engage in this beautiful place of meditation, to experience true healing and to visualize and see from within what's going on. So I would like for us, and I'm going to invite us through this meditation to have us look into a body of water. And as we know, kamayim hapanim lapanim ken lev ha'adam la'adam. I've done this beautiful meditation before in retreat workshops that I've run, and it's very, very, very powerful. And as we're going into Yom Hadin, we're still in the Yemei Rachamim, the days of awe and the days of compassion of Hashem. What I'd like for us to do is I'd like for us to go into this meditation and experience what it feels like to know that when I change, when I come into being, when I seize free will and choose to look at myself and look at others differently, this meditation will hopefully show us, to get us to dive in and experience what that looks like for the other people out there. Because everything is a projection. What I'm holding inside of me is always going to be projected to the person in front of me, and I'm always going to magnetize that into my life because, like I said, Hashem is stubborn. He wants to get us to heal. And the way that we get to heal is by meeting these triggers in our life. It's not a punishment. It's an invitation. I always say it's not what Hashem is doing to me, it's what He's doing for me. He's enabling me to heal, to grow, to elevate, to become stronger in my emotional experience. Okay? So with that, I'm inviting everyone to go into a quiet place. Hannah, we could put on the nigun again, and it might have to be renewed a few times because this could potentially obviously be more than 5 minutes for the period of the nigun. And again, everybody, just close your eyes. Take a nice deep breath. We breathe in through our nose we exhale out through our mouth. And this beautiful meditation is going to teach us the value of what it means projecting. We know this from Freud, we know this of course from the Baal Shem Tov, even before that everything that we experience, there's a projection, a blemish of a projection of my emotional experience that's being sent to me through the people that I meet. And we want to be able to see and experience that through this meditative healing exercise that we're doing right now. So just continue to breathe and just follow what I'm inviting you to experience here, and be open, surrender into it, separate from whatever's not right for you, and allow yourself to grow from this meditation and this experience. Like I said, the energy of the time is right here on our side. And the gathering experience of all of us here in a joint class together with the same intention is also for our favor. So I'm just going to begin to invite you into the space of cleansing your heart from negativity, to feel those places that we generally don't like to feel, we don't want to feel, we want to run away from feeling because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to go into those places where I don't want to feel the feelings that I feel towards others, but what can I do that I do feel them? So we want to be able to really come to this truthful place within self. And I'm inviting you, and it's a very spontaneous process right here, okay? So whatever comes up for you, let that just be. Invite it, welcome it, and just surrender into it. I want to invite you to bring in front of your mind's eye, your eyes are closed, you're breathing, hopefully you're slowing your mind down, and you're just internalizing and looking within self for the truth. I'm inviting you to bring in front of you a person that you wish to heal a relationship with. That could be yourself, it could be your inner child, okay? If it's something to do with Hashem, you can just bring in front of you the 4 letters of Hashem's name, of Rachamim, the Yud and the Hey and the Vav and the Hey. Whatever comes up for you, just let it be. And I'm going to invite you to turn inward to yourself as I recall the words that we mentioned before of Proverbs. And this beautiful, I think there's just some, interference, thank you. There's a little bit interference, I think, on this side, okay. And I'm inviting everybody to go into this place of the reflection, of looking inside the waters as we read from Proverbs, that water is reflected back by the water. Water doesn't have free will. It reflects that which we are reflecting into it, right? So too as water reflects back that which we are reflecting into it, so too our heart, the heart of a human being towards another human being's heart, is also a reflection. And so think about this relationship, think about this person that you wish to repair your engagement, your interaction with. Again, could be a person that you've suppressed your emotions towards them. Maybe they don't even know what you've been feeling towards them. And just take a nice deep breath as you think about them for a minute. I'm going to invite you in your mind's eye, while you're breathing and thinking about this person, I'm inviting you to take a walk in this expansive, beautiful field of lavender. And you can even, in your mind's experience, smell what it feels like to smell lavender at this time. And in your mind's eye, just open up this beautiful field. You're walking in this field. You can feel it. You can even sense as though you're putting your hands out. Again, your eyes are closed, and you're just feeling the lavender in your hands as you're walking by and touching the stalks. And you feel the sunshine shining down onto this beautiful field of tall stalks of lavender. And you can hear the breeze of the wind. And you're continuing to walk in this beautiful field of lavender. And you spot a beautiful pond of water right there in the middle of this beautiful field. And I'm inviting you to come closer to this beautiful pond of body of water. And I'm inviting you to just recall this beautiful teaching of Proverbs, as in water, face answers to face. So is the heart of a man to a man. Kamayim hapanim lepanim ken lev ha'adam la'adam. As you're looking into this pool of water, I want you to project the other person who you wish to resolve your feelings with into this pool of water, with the challenge that you have towards them. And look into this pool of water and see the pain of the relationship, the pain of your experience in this pond of water. See it playing out in front of you. How do they look? How does this person look? What feelings arise in you when you see them in your reflection, because you're seeing them through your own eyes in this pond of water? And I'll just give you a minute to look into there and really be honest, because you're seeing them through your eyes in this pond of water. And what if I challenged you just a little bit here, and I asked you to change one thing in the way that you're engaging with them and the way you interact with them? Maybe it could be the way you look at them, the way you think about them, the way you imagine them to be, the way you actually do something with them. What if I asked you to change one part of your relationship with them? One part. Just do that for a minute. And keep looking into this beautiful pond of water. And notice if anything changes in them now, when you made something of a slight change even. Did that change anything in them? And sometimes we have to do this activity a few more times, because we need to sometimes think about, maybe it works if we think about it in advance, what would I change? And many times the spontaneity of the meditation and the change is what actually enables the change to happen. But I just want you to know that all pain that we have, as you're seeing this play out still in front of you, all pain that we experience is sourced in separation. And in fact, all healing is defined as the restoration of that which once was whole. So we're all looking to restore, we're all looking to heal. And we need to understand that whatever triggers us, and when we change those triggers within ourselves, we can really reflect that back into our reality. And there can be significant shifts in the presence of others when we decide to make that change. And again, this is our free will. We can do that. And we're invited to do that. So I just want you to know that this experience in this meditation is real. It is absolutely real. It's a powerful way to turn around your emotional experience and your relationships, and to see it happening in front of your eyes. Because many times we can't change the world, but when we change again ourselves, we change the world around us. And indeed, those around us will follow suit. So I invite you to move backwards from this pond, lift your head away from the pond, and begin to make your way through the field again. I hope that you can see yourself through this experience a little bit more lighter, a little bit more inspired, a little bit more rejuvenated. As you gave yourself an opportunity to see, to notice something that you may have not noticed, and to change something that you may not have realized that you can change. And I invite you slowly to begin to feel your presence back in your body, in the chair or the bed or wherever you're lying down, to feel that experience. Take a deep breath, invite that into your presence. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes back up and come back to the class here and now. And I'll say one or two last parting words before I open up for questions, as I know that time has also come. Something magnificent that we learn is that as B'nai Adam, as we all started from Adam Harishon, right? The first man on earth. If you take the Gematria and the numerical value of the word Adam, it equals 45. 45 is also the Gematria numerical value of one of 72 holy names of Hashem. Right? There's Ayin Bet Shemot, 72 holy names of Hashem. And what that means is that equals also 45. And what that tells us and what that means to us, amongst so many others, I mean, this is just a dab, right? Is that all healing is self-healing. When we heal, when we seize the ability to heal and restore back to the oneness, when we are able to recognize that there is a wholesome place within the pain, when we can restore back to creating shalom and peace and wholesomeness in our relationships, then eventually, God willing, we're also able to tap into one of the most holiest places and holiest divine connections with Hashem. And that's why we're here. And God willing, we'll be able to do that. Anila Dodiva Dodili, that's what this month is about. So I'm here to welcome any questions, any thoughts, any experiences. I'm also inviting everyone here, if you haven't already tapped into oramunaenergy.com, to come and seek out the programs. Thank you, Jewish Workshops, for hosting this opportunity at this very important part of the year. And happy healing and Shana Tova Umetuka, Ktiva and Chatima Tova to everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, Orit. That was really wonderful. We do have a few questions. The first one is what's the difference between meditation and guided imagery?
In essence, we can say they're kind of two of the same experiences. Guided imagery really is inviting well, let's put it this way. Meditation is about focus. Medi means to center. You want to focus on something. So the meditation is part of the guided imagery. It's about centering and coming to a place of focusing on a certain image that you're being guided to see. However, meditation can also mean centering ourselves and not having any imagery, right? In other words, meditation is always part of guided imagery, but meditation can also be that I'm not actually seeing anything at all. I'm actually waiting to see what it is that is going to be guided to me from within me, or it could be invited by the person leading the meditation by telling me, guiding me to see something. So it's always involved with some sort of imagery. It depends if it's being guided by myself or it's being guided by someone else. So sometimes it's just about quieting, and sometimes it's about leading me to actually see something.
Thank you. Do you have recommendations for specific meditations or thoughts that we should be thinking when we hear the shofar blast?
There are very different camps of thinking with the shofar. Some will say that it's important to just let go and just fall into the experience. One of the very important parts of the experience of shofar is shapru ma'asechem. It's about the shofar from the word lishaper, to improve ourselves, right? That's one of the essences. It's to break open the heart and to say, I want to do better. I want to make you king. Avinu Malkeinu, I want to invite you into my life, right? My heart is breaking open from the voice of the shofar, and it's making room for the experience of the oneness to come in. How do I do that? By saying, I want to do better. I want to live in my godly light. I'm interested in refining myself and elevating myself, some of which we spoke about. So some will say that that's the experience. Some will say just surrender into what happens and just allow the experience of the awe, the joy, and the trepidation to come and be your experience. I personally find, I'll just give you me, that sometimes I just let be, and then sometimes I feel drawn into, I'm asking for something. And then I find, honestly, this is my experience, that when I go in and say, I want to feel, it already takes away. The whole idea is to be in the oneness of Hashem. That when you're with the oneness of Hashem, if you're going in there predictated, you can go in there thinking, I would like to, but let it be a spontaneous experience. Because if I'm going there and I want to, then I kind of lost the momentum of being in the presence of the Ein Sof, of everything that can happen for me during that experience. So I'm from the mind of the mind thinking of, study what it means to be in a shofar moment, and then let the moment just be for you, whatever it needs to be. Anything?
Wow, thank you. One last question.
Sure.
I'm a young mother with lots of children at home, and I don't even know if I'll be able to say a full Shemona Esrei. Is there something, a meditation, something that you recommend to just get me into that right mind frame, even if I can't get a full tefillah in?
Right. Obviously, the desire is to, yes, get that in. Obviously, I hear it from the person's question. And first of all, kol hakavod, just I tip my tickle for you to just be in that place of desiring. And I just want you to know Hashem reads your desire. It's so important. I want you to understand all human experience is not just about action. We think, oh, I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Well, guess what? Hashem is looking at our intentions, our desires, our thoughts, our speech, our heart, and then our action. So please, give yourself some slack, please, and feel compassion. It's a day of compassion. Yes, it's Yom Adin, but we wear white because we know that it's a day of compassion, that Hashem is we're asking him to move from the din, from the judgment, to the compassionate chair, right? So first of all, please hug yourself and recognize that you are a woman of valor, and you're amazing, that you're holding on to that desire to want to daven. So I first want to give you a lot of credit on that. The key of all tefillah, every moment of tefillah, is to attach to the oneness. Every moment that you're doing dishes, you're changing diapers, you're sweeping the floor, you're preparing your table, you're cooking, whatever it is that you're doing, when you're thinking about Hashem, you are davening. Tefillah means ptil, a wick. You are attaching yourself to Hashem. Every moment, ve'ani tefillah from David HaMelech means every moment is a moment of tefillah if you're attaching yourself to the oneness through gratitude, through yearning, through consciousness, through meditation, just closing your eyes for just a second while you're doing your dishes. Close your eyes, say, I love you, Hashem. I love you, Hashem. Thank you for the new year. Thank you, Hashem. I made it through another year. You gave us another year. That's tefillah. So use those moments. We get so afraid that it has to be. If it's not, you're not able to. Who made it that you're not able to? Didn't Hashem make it that you're not able to? So that means find other ways. There are other ways. And I'm not into boxing. Don't go into boxing. Whatever comes to you, whatever yearning comes out of you, whatever gratitude comes out of you, whatever refinement of character comes out at every moment from this point leading onward, let that be your tefillah. Make it yours. Own it. And give yourself some slack, because Hashem knows that He gave you beautiful children that have made it challenging for you to daven the way that it was boxed in for us, which is important. But if we can't, we can't. Use other opportunities and other ways.
Thank you so much. We have one last clarification question. When we hear the shofar, shouldn't we have in mind that we are fulfilling the Torah mitzvah of the day to hear the shofar?
Of course, we can, but that could be done before. I don't have to have that during. The kavanah could be before that. I can be, as the shofar blower is ready to blow the shofar, I can have that intention that moment before. Doesn't have to be during. During, let the experience be the experience. Going into it with the openness of, you're preparing yourself. I'm so excited, I'm about to fulfill the mitzvah of hearing the mitzvah of the shofar. That can certainly be done before. But when it actually is blowing, I'm in awe of the presence of Hashem. To be in the presence of Hashem through the breaking open of the heart, to feel the oneness of Hashem, it's in it itself such a value that it doesn't have to be defined by words or even by intentions. It's just, I'm with you, Hashem. I love you, Hashem. That goes way beyond anything I could or should. Again, for some people, they need a roadmap. Then that's your derech. But I shared with you my experience. For me, I just want to I just want to dissolve into the experience. And so that's for me, but everybody to each his own. But again, that kavanah could and should be part of the pre-preparation of hearing the shofar.
Wow, thank you. This was really a wonderful class, and we have so many thank yous coming in. Thank you for your knowledge and experience. This was really wonderful. I think I'm now in the right mindset for Rosh Hashanah. Thank you. So thank you so much, Orit. We are so happy to have you with us.
Thank you.
And for everybody else who is continuing to join us for the day, the link to join the main line again is in your chat box. And if you have any trouble, just reach out to Jewish Workshops at jewishworkshops.com. But it's such a pleasure to have you here with us, Orit, and it's such a pleasure to have everyone else with there. And our next speaker will be Sarah Pepper. So thank you, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you on the line again.
Thank you. Thank you so much.